Hello and welcome back to the Claudinho F1 channel. Today I'm here with my mates Broomhandle, Luke and Mariah to discuss the F1 2020 season, a bit of an end of season review. We're going to work our way through all the races and discuss about them. So first one up we got is the Austrian Grand Prix. Top three there were Valtteri Bottas, Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. My guy Lando Norris getting a podium there. So lads, anybody want to start us off on their thoughts of the Austrian Grand Prix? One of my personal favourite races of this season. What are your thoughts on this race, lads?
I wouldn't say that's my favourite race because Max DNF, but it was pretty exciting. Just the whole thing with I love DNFs, love safety cars. Lando on the podium and Charles in his Ferrari.
Yeah.
Overall pretty decent
Actually,
race.
I'm reading it here actually. Only 11 cars finished and Nicholas Latifi very close to getting points there in P11. Obviously we had that crash with Alexander Albon and Lewis Hamilton. Anybody want to discuss about that? Because that was a very... I would like to actually get your opinions on that, lads. Did Albon actually get past Hamilton, or did he kind of just barge his way in there and that's how they made contact? What are your opinions on that crash? Because that was a very big crash and it was very reminiscent of the Brazil crash they had there last season or the season before. So what are your thoughts on that, lads?
Well, I think that, let's say he did get past without crashing and went on, maybe win or maybe come second, I think he would still be with Red Bull right now.
Really?
No,
Well, that's very... To be fair, I think this was a very poor season from Alexander Albon in my opinion. What was it? I think he only got one podium or something. That just you can't be doing that in a Red Bull in my opinion. This is the second fastest car on the grid, and what's happening there? Like, in all fairness, I think Red Bull have made the right decision in hiring Sergio Perez, but you need that teammate to pair Max Verstappen. He's going to be pushing him all the way, and I don't think Albon pushed Max Verstappen all the way. And to be fair, he was very unlucky in this race. To be fair, I think he would have got a podium or probably gone on to win that race, because I remember he was, at the time, I think he was on the most freshest tyres. I think I remember he had been on a very long first stint, I think I remember, and I don't forget what compound he went on to, but I think he would have caught up to Valtteri Bottas in this race if he would have got past Hamilton. But yeah, very interesting race here. I'll go down the order just again. Bottas, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton. Obviously Hamilton getting that time penalty with the incident with Albon. We got Sainz, we got Perez, we got Gasly, we got Ocon, Antonio Giovinazzi, Vettel, Latifi. Then the DNFs, we got Kvyat, Albon, Raikkonen, George Russell, Roman Grosjean, Kevin Magnussen. That was very interesting, the Kevin Magnussen crash. I don't know if you remember, lads. He was up there at the turn 2, I think, going up that little hill, or turn 3, sorry, yeah. I think he went into the gravel or something. It was a very, very...
No, Ocon passed him, and then...
I do believe it was a brake failure.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it was a brake failure, it was. And obviously Max Verstappen there, I don't know what... Did his engine just blow up? I don't remember, I'm just going off.
It was.
Yeah, that was very interesting now. Very interesting, to be fair. Anybody else got any thoughts here? Antonio Giovinazzi actually getting points in that race also. P9.
Yeah.
That was a good result for him. Sebastian Vettel getting P10. Very interesting also. I don't think... Yeah, actually here's a good question for you, lads. Did you expect Ferrari's performance-wise? Like, did you expect them to be fast or not with the car they had?
Well, when I watched, okay, so I was watching preseason testing, and of course this was a big, this was 5 months ago, of course, from that date, July 5th, I do believe it was the race, and of course we had that gap that we saw. With the preseason testing, I thought they were just sandbagging. I really did think they were sandbagging, and then I actually watched, YouTube video, I do believe, that kind of started my thinking. I was watching it, and I realized there was something deeper going on with the engine from their 2019 car, and the FIA got involved with that, and something happened where they were they weren't able to have that Ferrari power, and I was kind of like going, well, maybe Ferrari's not going to be as fast as they were in 2019. But when we got to the race, when we got to especially qualifying, the big shocker for me was to see Leclerc and Vettel both out in quali, and that was something that was like, okay, I knew they were going to be slower, like maybe behind Red Bull, but I didn't expect them to be out of Q2, and that was something that was insane. And actually, real quick, before we move on, I just want to say that Austrian Grand Prix really showed me, in particular, that this was going to be a good season, because we had all these drivers. Firstly, we had all these drivers that were itching to get back in that car because it's been so long, and then we came into that season, and we came into that first race with, I think it was like a 12 retirements or something like that, where we only had 12 finishers, I do believe. It was a crazy Grand Prix, and honestly, I gotta say, at that end of the Grand Prix, McLaren were the fastest team in that entire race, in my opinion. McLaren were the fastest team, and honestly, Mercedes were not that quick.
Yeah.
And if you guys remember, Norris and Sainz were trading fastest laps over the two Mercedes drivers. It was just like, where has this come from? Where has McLaren come from? And of course, Norris got that podium, which was probably the best podium of the entire season, and that was just on the first race. So, in my opinion, everything was absolutely crazy at that start of it. But yeah, the Ferrari issue with the power unit was definitely something that was going around the paddock.
All right, well, you summed that up pretty well, this race. So we'll go on to the next race. Now, obviously, we were at the same circuit. I think it's the what was the name of the GP again there, lads? Styria Grand Prix. At the same track at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. I'll just go through the order of the race finish there. We had Hamilton in first, Bottas in second, followed by Verstappen, Albon, Norris in P5, Perez, Stroll, Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Daniel Kvyat getting his first points there of the season. I would like to chat a bit about Kvyat just in a moment there, lads. Raikkonen, Magnussen, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Gasly, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi, and then the DNFs, Esteban Ocon, Charles Leclerc, and Sebastian Vettel. That's another interesting topic we can chat about there. I think that was right at the start of the race in the Styrian Grand Prix where they collided. That was very interesting. You know, it went from bad to worse in the space of 2 weeks. You know, just I think for a Ferrari's point of view, they just want to completely forget about Austria, because those two races were just abysmal for them, in my opinion. Well, Leclerc obviously did get the podium, but I don't think Vettel had the two greatest of races. Or no, sorry, he did. I don't know what I'm saying, but
He got beat in the first race.
That's certain race. That's Styria Grand Prix, you know, just two cars retiring. Just unbelievable. What are your thoughts on that, lads? Who was in the wrong there, in your opinion? I think I remember it was Charles Leclerc. If I'm not right or not there, but that was hectic in my opinion. That crash, it was just such an abysmal season for Ferrari, and this incident really kick-started. So, lads, what was your opinion on it?
Well, Leclerc just came in too fast. He wanted to get in a lot of positions because he was on the soft tires. The rest was all around him with mediums. But you see 3 cars going wide into turn 3, and then you can't fit another car inside of there. There's just no room. Then you have Vettel driving around with a rear wing off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he had that collision with Carlos Sainz. I think I remember.
That's in the first race, I think.
Was it? I have no clue. I'm going off memory here at this stage. But Daniel Kvyat, first points of the race, first points of the season there for him. just quick question, lads. Do you think Daniel Kvyat? I was very impressed with him at the end of the season. Now, to be fair with you, lads, I think he got P5 in one of those races near the end of the year.
P4 in
P4, yes, in Imola. Yes. Do you think he deserved to stay in the AlphaTauri seat for one more season, or do you think Yuki Tsunoda has claimed that seat and it is rightfully his? Who do you think should have got that seat, Kvyat or Tsunoda?
Well, I think it's the problem is that Red Bull they have another 2 drivers. Honestly, if they had 3 teams, it'd be set. They just don't have enough spaces because they have Tsunoda coming from F2, and honestly, Tsunoda is one of the best drivers of all time. You got to remember that was his first season in F2, his debut season in F2, and he went. And I think the Bahrain race was one to remember. He went from last in the grid all the way up to 6th. I literally watched this race just to look at it, and I'm a huge fan of Tsunoda, and I think he definitely deserves that AlphaTauri seat. But Danny Kvyat, at the end of the season, I think that Imola race put some courage into him to try and fight for that seat. Unfortunately, it didn't end up well. But that's the way in Formula 1 it goes. But honestly, he does deserve a seat. It really does, have to say. And actually, Kvyat was actually faster than Gasly for some of the parts of that race. I think if Gasly was there at that Imola race, it would be very different. But I think Bahrain, was Secure Grand Prix. Kvyat was on fire that race, looking really strong, up in like P5 or 4 for quite a while. He was really strong in the couple last races of the Grand Prix. But honestly, Red Bull situation, if they had 3 teams, that would be perfect to put Perez and Verstappen at the main Red Bull team, Tsunoda and Gasly at the AlphaTauri team, and then if they had a second Red Bull team, they would have Kvyat and Albon, that old 2019 Toro Rosso pairing. Wouldn't that be great? But there's just not enough seats at that at the Red Bull program, but unfortunately Kvyat had to lose that, and so did Albon as well, so unfortunate to see.
Yeah, that's a really good summary there, to be fair with you. Now, I don't think Yuki Tsunoda is the best driver of all the time, what you said there, but
he's good though.
He really is good, and to be fair to you, he's definitely better than Kvyat at the moment. To be fair, at the start of the season, I was thinking if Yuki Tsunoda gets these super license points, AlphaTauri are going to 100% promote him, or Red Bull are going to promote him up to F1, because we do remember during midway through the season, Honda announced that they will be departing from F1, so they had that Honda Dream Project thing, I forget what you call it. I think it is called Honda Dream Project, where they get these young Japanese drivers into F1 with the Honda manufacturers. But I think what they wanted to do, if they were going to leave F1, they wanted to get Tsunoda in as soon as possible. And to be fair, I think Tsunoda wiped F2 completely this season. What was he, third in the drivers' championship as a rookie? That's just incredible in my opinion. That is really incredible. And he definitely challenged Mick Schumacher and Callum Ilott right throughout that season. So he definitely deserves that seat in my opinion. But Daniel Kvyat, I think there should be no shame or any regrets leaving F1. I think he did the best he could do. Obviously, he did have that potential whenever he was coming into F1. Obviously, being that next big Red Bull driver. But then kind of Max stole his limelight there, and Kvyat just kind of faded into the background there. But again, as I said, I don't think he has any shame or regrets in leaving F1. So lads, I think we'll go into the next race there. We're not really rushing through these very fast, but next is the Hungarian Grand Prix. I'll run through the order real quick. We have Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Stroll, Albon, Vettel, Perez, Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz, Kevin Magnussen actually getting points, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Kvyat, Lando Norris, Esteban Ocon, Kimi Raikkonen, Roman Grosjean, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell, Nicholas Latifi finishing 5 laps behind in the race. That is incredible. That is I wonder if he had a crash there.
He had that spin.
Oh yes, I do remember that. And Pierre Gasly being actually. To be fair, I think I don't know if that was Broom snoozing there, but I think it was a pretty big snore fest. But I think the only thing we can point out there is Kevin Magnussen. getting points. Unbelievable, to be fair. Just a question there for you lads. How slow did you think that Haas car was this season?
I think it was slower than the Williams.
Yeah, agreed.
What?
I think it was slower than the Williams.
No.
I honestly believe
Surely
that.
not.
No, I honestly
I agree,
believe that
I
car
agree.
was slower than the Williams.
Okay. I don't, but
I honestly think the Williams car is going to be faster than Haas next year. Honestly, I think there's going to be a lot of trouble with Mazepin next season. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail because don't want to go through, and that's another whole video in itself. But
Definitely.
Mick Schumacher, I think he'll do well. Do I think he'll do better than Latifi and George Russell? Maybe Nicholas Latifi, because Nicholas Latifi's just Nicholas Latifi. But George Russell, 100% not. He's not going to do better than George Russell, in my opinion. I have to back my boy up there, George Russell, because he had a very good season in itself, really. Obviously, we saw him in the, what was it? Was it the Sakir? Yeah, the Sakir Grand Prix. He should have probably won that race, in my opinion. But obviously, Mercedes screwed him over. But I don't really know if there's too much to chat here about the Hungarian Grand Prix, because...
Max Verstappen on the lap.
oh yeah.
To the grid.
Oh yes. That was remarkable.
Magnussen, he tried to, well, I don't know how you say this, but he tried to like get every gear in. So he tried to go to 8th gear. So like for the race, I don't know how you call that. It's a gear sync, I think. And he tried that and then just missed his braking point and flew into the wall.
Lando Norris there also struggling very badly. P13. I forget what happened to him, but
He just struggled, I think. The McLarens were not fast at that race, and
yeah,
I think it showed
P9
the pace
Carlos
really right
Sainz.
there. Yeah.
Charles Leclerc coming in P11 also.
You have Kevin and Roman going pitting
Kevin-
on the formation lap.
Kevin and Roman were actually not that bad. They were not that bad throughout Hungary, to be fair to you. You know, and
You also got to remember that they pit during the formation lap, I do believe, and so that's why they had that strategy.
That's
they just had to defend for the whole race after that.
And they did it
And they were
perfectly,
running
to be
P3
fair.
and 4.
To be fair, I do rate Kevin Magnussen. Not too much Roman Grosjean, but Kevin Magnussen, if I had it my way, if I was the Haas team principal, I would probably keep him in F1 for another season. I would have him still at Haas in 2021. I think if you put him in the right car, he will get you points consistently, and I think it's very unlucky for him to be leaving F1 this season. It's pretty sad to see, but that was obviously probably his season highlight, if I'm not right in saying. P10, very good result for the Haas, and Haas had a overall terrible season, but not really too much to shout for. But I think we're going to move on from that Grand Prix, because again, I don't think there's...
Talk about that penalty. About the penalty you got for pitting on the formation lap. I don't think that's right to give a penalty for that.
Who was that again?
Called him in.
Oh yeah.
Magnussen and the Romain Grosjean.
They got a penalty.
For getting called in. I don't think that should be a penalty.
But don't they still have to wait for everyone to go past in the pit lane though?
No, I think they got a penalty because the engineers called them in. If Kevin said himself, I want to pit for dries, they wouldn't have got a penalty. I think that shouldn't. I think they should change that rule in F1.
Alright then, that's another topic in itself, but we'll move on to the British Grand Prix here, lads. I'll run through the order again. Hamilton, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Stroll, Vettel, Bottas, George Russell, Carlos Sainz Jr., Antonio Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi, Roman Grosjean, Kimi Raikkonen. DNFs were Daniel Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen, and Nico Hülkenberg. So obviously we had our first COVID positive. This race we had Sergio Perez contracting to coronavirus. He tested positive. In came Nico Hülkenberg, and to be fair, Nico Hülkenberg was not that too bad throughout the Grand Prix weekend. In both Silverstone races, to be fair, in the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, he was not that too bad at all. I think I remember he was starting somewhere around P3. I think I remember. He was very unlucky to DNF that race. I think there's a mechanical failure or something in his car.
That was the one before.
Was it?
He
No,
DNF'd
I
before the
think-
start in the British Grand Prix, and then for 70th anniversary,
Yeah.
qualified P3.
Oh yes.
That's right.
Where did he qualify in Brit? The first
I
race?
do believe he qualified last.
Wait, let me see this.
Oh yes, he
I
did
don't
qualify.
think he was
He
in the
really
car before
struggled. I
qualifying.
think.
No,
I
he
think I remember that.
qualified P13
Oh.
with a 26.327.
Well, I think qualifying was like his first time in the car because he didn't.
Yeah.
DNF him
It
for
was
until
because
practice.
I think- did he
Perez
not-
was.
did
They didn't find
practice
out
before?
until a
No.
little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, overall, here's a good question for you here, lads. Do you think Nico Hulkenberg deserved the seat due just
100%.
on those performances for next season in 2021? I think he did, to be fair. I think he did, to be fair. Now, I think he could have got one of the Haas seats, maybe a Red Bull seat. I'm not too sure there, but I was not normally a big Nico Hulkenberg fan before he left in when was it? 2019, I think it was. He left racing. Was it racing? Yeah, I think it was
It was Renault.
Renault. Yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of him, but to be fair, I'm a big fan of him now. To be fair, I think he deserves a seat somewhere on this grid. To be fair, if Mazepin, if Mazepin, fecks up again at Haas, like he hasn't even raced for Haas this season. He's already fecking up, but Nico Hulkenberg's there, just waiting, I guess, because he is a decent driver. He really is a decent driver, and he proved it during these two Silverstone races. We'll move on from there, but overall, very good 2 Grand Prix for him. But just looking at here, Esteban Ocon getting P6 in that race, decent result. Esteban Ocon had an interesting season, in my opinion. Obviously, the highlight there was getting a podium in the Sakir Grand Prix. Lads, what are your thoughts on Esteban Ocon this season?
Well, I'm not really a fan of him, to be honest. But
Me neither.
yeah, I think he did all right.
Some Dutch, but
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I'm just not a fan of him, but yeah, all right. And I think definitely got destroyed by Ricardo, and
100%.
I just can't see anything different for next season with Alonso. And if I'm being honest, I do not see him being in F1 much longer, to be honest.
To be fair, I think Alpine or Renault next season are going to struggle a lot, but that's another video in itself. We were actually deciding, me and Ryan there, if we were going to do 2021 predictions tonight, but that's another video for itself, maybe next year, once we get closer to the time. But actually, another thing there, lads, I think
Punctures.
was puncture. Yeah, the Lewis Hamilton
Yep.
puncture. That was
Belgium
very
did that
interesting.
science.
The track
and
temperature
also
during that race.
Fiat's, puncture.
Yeah, the track
both
temperature
Mercedes.
that race. The track temperatures there at Silverstone that weekend were crazy, in my opinion. Absolutely crazy. Lewis Hamilton, just about in Lewis Hamilton fashion, in my opinion, typical Lewis Hamilton, finds a way to win the race. He got a puncture maybe halfway through that last lap. Crazy stuff. And Verstappen, I remember Verstappen absolutely flying towards him, and he just still managed to still win that race. Incredible scenes. What are your thoughts there, lads? Because it's just incredible. I have no words for it.
Maybe if Max didn't pit for that fast lap, he could have got him, but you never know if Max would have got a puncture.
Yeah.
So,
Then
I
you
heard
know
like he
what's
had like
gonna happen.
20, like 50, like fucking, how do you call those things? Like, I wouldn't say stab wounds, but like they were done. Those guys were dead.
Alright, well, we'll go on to the next race here, lads. 70th anniversary Grand Prix. I'll just run through the order real quick.
Nice.
Verstappen, Hamilton, Bottas, Charles Leclerc, Albon, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Lando Norris, Daniel Kvyat, Pierre Gasly, Vettel, Carlos Sainz, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Grosjean, and Giovinazzi, Russell, Latifi, Magnussen, DNFing. Very good race here for Max Verstappen, in my opinion. Probably his best performance this season, in my opinion, alongside the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. But again, going back to Hulkenberg, he qualified P3, and I think I remember we were talking about there. But very,
I think they
very-
fucked him over with the strat. They gave him like
yeah,
all the way to
yeah,
the
100%.
back.
Yeah, I
Sent him
remember that.
behind Stroll. He was in front of Stroll before. I didn't know why they sent him back. I think he was driving around in P5 or P4.
Daniel Kvyat also got points in that race, P10. But obviously Max Verstappen, very dominant race, in my opinion. There, I think this race overall shows, you know, what Max Verstappen can do whenever he puts his mind to it. Honestly,
And
We
Red
all
Bull
know-
had a good strat.
we all
with,
know that
starting on the hards in Q2.
in the next couple of years, Red Bull definitely have the beating of Mercedes, in my opinion. In the next 2 or 3 years, 100%. Like I think they've made a step forward already in hiring Sergio Perez over Albon. But overall, a very good race from Max Verstappen. I don't really think there's too much else to say. I'm just having a look here at the results. Nothing
Where did
really else.
Hulkenberg finish?
He finished P7.
Seventh.
P7. Started P6 actually. Oh no, sorry, didn't start P6, but
He started P3.
P3.
Yeah.
Sorry. Lando Norris P9, Esteban Ocon P8. Daniel Ricciardo struggling in that race. To be fair,
Yeah,
P14.
he was in the
Renault.
points. He was in the points, and then I think spun at turn.
Yeah,
Turn
it
three.
was turn 3.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
He was
very-
not, that was
He
not
was-
the race of his.
No, he was in front of Ocon.
All right,
He got
boys.
2 points.
We're going to the next race here. Spanish Grand Prix. Run through the order again. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Stroll, Perez, Sainz, Vettel,
boring
Albon,
race.
Pierre Gasly,
Anyway.
Lando Norris, Ricciardo, Kvyat, Esteban Ocon, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Giovinazzi, George Russell, Latifi, Roman Grosjean, Charles Leclerc DNFing. Now, I remember this DNF, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what happened though. Was it? I think it was a
just
minute.
shut off
Yeah,
or
just yeah. I think I
stopped.
remember. Yeah.
And then he drove around without his
No
seatbelt
seatbelt.
for the whole lap.
What
Oh,
a fucking idiot, honestly.
Surprised
That
he
was
didn't get a
Ferrari.
penalty for that.
That was Ferrari's fault because they told him to do that. That was a race that was kind of like, okay, Ferrari, what are you doing? Like you're kind of a mess right now, and I
Actually-
think that race really showed it. But
Vet-
Vettel. Oh, and that's the other thing, the strategy as well. If you guys remember
yeah.
that strategy that
Yeah,
Vettel
like,
had,
when
he
he got that
became the strategist.
He
To be
went
fair,
like
At this stage, honestly, I think
more laps on the softs than he did on the mediums.
to be
Yeah.
He
fair,
told at the end that he should push, well, not push, but tire save because he's going to the end.
to be fair, lads, at this stage of the season, I think Vettel just didn't give a shit. Honestly,
Yeah,
like he just had
he's
had
Yeah.
enough. Honestly, like I don't know if you've seen that video or that meme of the pictures of people's eyes, cocaine, weed, and then you just see Ferrari, and then it's just Vettel's eyes just looking absolutely exhausted. I'll post it in one of the discords later on, but honestly, I just you could just see if Ferrari were just not being kind to Vettel at all. You could just honestly see that they're favouring Leclerc. This is another interesting thing, lads. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, all laps the rest of the car. Beyond P3, from P4 down to P19, everybody got lapped. Everybody actually got lapped. It's only like three cars, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, finished the whole full like lap. I don't know how many laps around here, but they finished the whole lap. Everybody else finished the lap behind. Now that's very interesting, to be fair.
I remember how boring that race was.
Yeah, I think it was a very boring race. Also, I
I
think when we
remember.
sorry, go on.
I remember Sky Sports are making a big deal out of when Hamilton, when he crossed the line, he's saying, "Oh, I didn't even realize there's a last lap." on Sky Sports, you know, they're making a big deal out of saying, "Oh, he was in the zone," and all this shit.
Oh,
It was just so. It was just
I'm gonna
because it was
tell
so
you
boring.
something, but Sky
wasn't in the
Sports
zone, it was
wanked
just so
the
fucking
living
boring.
shit out of Lewis Hamilton. It's not even a joke anymore. It's just a norm, like, honestly.
He wasn't in the zone. He was fucking asleep, mate.
I remember Perez getting that penalty for. Didn't he block Lewis on blue
Apparently
flag?
he did, yeah.
I don't remember that.
All right, we'll move on to the next Grand Prix, Belgium Grand Prix. Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Ocon, Albon, Norris, Gasly, Stroll, Perez, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Vettel, Leclerc, Grosjean, Nicholas Latifi, Magnussen, Giovinazzi. DNS were Carlos Sainz. I remember that. That was very interesting. I don't know if it was anti-stall or not, but
on the lap to the grid, his fucking, what was it? The exhaustion pipe just stopped or some shit.
Yeah, and also
what's crazy is that the 2019 Grand Prix, he almost did the exact same thing. I don't believe he finished a lap there. It was double disaster for Belgium.
P13 and P14 there for Vettel and Leclerc. Abysmal race for them, in my opinion. But Esteban Ocon getting P5. This was a very good race for the Renaults, in my opinion.
Yeah, they showed
I
how
think the Renault car this year was very underrated, in my opinion. I think Ricciardo and Ocon at times absolutely flew in that Renault.
Well,
They gained a lot of straight line speed from last year. I think that's some improvement.
And this was the race that Renault showed they had the pace, because this was like the step forward for the Renault F1 team, and they were like, okay, because before I was like, you know what, Renault, just another year, another 2019, and then in that race at Belgium was like P4, P5. If you guys remember, Ricciardo was on the back of Verstappen at the end of the race. He was so close to beating Verstappen. That showed right there that Renault were the second fastest team at that point. And for the rest of the season, they were literally challenging for P3 in the Constructors' Championship. So it was absolutely insane. That race, though, Renault were extremely fast. And also that race, as we mentioned, Ferrari were absolutely nowhere. So Renault had the ups and Ferrari had the downs.
Alright, well, that sums it up perfectly. So we'll go on to the Italian Grand Prix there. Now, this lads was my favourite race of the season.
Wait,
so I'll run through the order.
Is it yellow or is it?
No, this is the Monza.
Monza.
Oh, yeah.
So Gasly, Sainz, Stroll, Lando Norris, Bottas, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Ocon, Kvyat, Perez, Latifi, Grosjean, Raikkonen, Russell, Albon, Giovinazzi. Then DNS were Verstappen, Leclerc, Kevin Magnussen, and Vettel. So, lads, where do we start off with this one, to be fair? I have no clue where to start off.
At the top, yeah.
Pierre Gasly winning this race. And oh my days, I was nearly...
Kevin Magnussen started it all. If he
did a DNF he was the driver of the day.
I was nearly...
If Magnussen did a DNF right there, he would have not turned out like that.
I was nearly as happy whenever Gasly won the Italian Grand Prix as whenever Lando Norris got a podium in Austria. But I remember Sainz was pushing that McLaren all the way. It was just, I would have probably been more happier for Sainz to win the race, just because I'm a big McLaren fan and obviously I'm a big Sainz fan also. But Gasly, I think this was a really good feel-good moment, in my opinion. Just all the things he had been through with Red Bull, just the pressure just went off your shoulders completely whenever he won that race.
Yeah,
unbelievable
scenes. Anyone deserved a win on the grid as much as he did.
Yeah.
Right, and
for like being dropped by Red Bull and his friend dying in Hubert, and like he's not had it easy in his career.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
100%.
yeah, because the thing is that when Gasly won that race, it really was a confidence booster for him, like, because it showed that he's a driver to watch out for. And of course, I think Claude mentioned it. I felt the same. I really wanted Sainz to win that race, but he's going to Ferrari next year. He's got the chance to do it again. Gasly doesn't have very many chances to win a Grand Prix, especially with AlphaTauri. And you got to remember, guys, is that race was the last victory that AlphaTauri took was at that race in 2008 with Sebastian Vettel. And it's crazy to think that they did that again. So they're now a two-time winner team, but that race really was a step forward for Gasly. A step forward for Formula One as well, you guys got to think.
New winner.
As well, because it showed us, and it showed, like, for me, it showed that this race, this season, this motorsport is not over. We still have challengers, and it's not just going to be Mercedes Red Bull. It's someone different, and it really showed... I think it brought a lot of fans to the motorsport scene, Pierre Gasly winning the Grand Prix. Even non-motorsport fans heard this happened. I think it gained a lot of fans to their attention. So it was a really big Grand Prix that stood out for Gasly, AlphaTauri, and Formula One in general.
And to be
It
fair,
was
lads,
a perfect audition for reverse grids, but we just have to
yeah,
wait and see
100%.
what happens with that.
But honestly, I think the AlphaTauri car is getting quicker. Honestly, I think this season the AlphaTauri car was rapid, in my opinion. Absolutely rapid.
Oh yeah.
I think it showed some very decent performances. And I'm going to make a quick, like, I think Luke might know this word if I say it, but like I'm going to take a little hot take here, like Stephen A. Smith style. But I think I think
I don't even know who that is.
I'll show you a picture of him later on. But Pierre, I think the AlphaTauri is going to be quicker than Renault next year. I really do think that. I really do.
I can't really argue with that.
I think just with that driver lineup also, Tsunoda and Gasly, that's 100% a better lineup than Alonso and Ocon, in my opinion. I know that Alonso is two-time world champion, but I don't think with the cars he was in whenever he won those races, I don't think he's going to be able to match the form with Alpine in the car that he'll be using next year. But we'll move on to the next Grand Prix, the Tuscan Grand Prix. I remember this race. I'm looking here at the thumbnail of the video. That big crash there between, who was it? Sainz, literally. Oh my! It was from a safety car restart. I remember. Hamilton. I was a Hamilton, I think, or I think it was.
No, but it wasn't Bottas' fault because he can go whenever he wanted to
I
go.
know,
and he
but
was
it's
already,
just so dangerous.
He was standing on the power. It was someone making a gap, and I think that was Kvyat.
We'll just run through the
making
grid.
gap.
We'll run through the finishing lineup here. Hamilton, Bottas, Albon getting his first podium in F1. Perez, Lando Norris, Daniel Kvyat, Leclerc, Raikkonen getting P9. Absolutely good scenes there to see. Vettel, Russell getting P11. He could have got a podium this race, if I remember.
Podium? No, he wasn't.
Sorry, not a podium. Point. Not points. Not
That will be quoted. That will be.
You're gonna clip that, I know that. Grosjean, Stroll, Ocon, Latifi, Magnussen, Giovinazzi. Oh, sorry, yeah, a lot of DNFs.
If that wasn't
12
for a crash
finishes.
Stroll,
Yeah. But
George would have got points.
I don't know if there's really too much to say here, but I remember Ricciardo could have definitely got a podium in this race. I remember him flying near the end.
Albon was flying too, though. You gotta remember that.
He was doing
absolutely
well.
flying to catch him.
Kvyat getting P7, that's a good result for him, I remember that. Leclerc, just the Ferrari, around this time we just saw how mediocre the Ferraris were, honestly.
But you gotta remember, the Ferraris actually were pretty fast. Leclerc was running P3 for a little bit, qualified, I think, 4th or 5th or something like that. And, yeah, 4th. It was 4th at their 1000th Grand Prix, and they had that special livery as well, which kind of looked weird, in my opinion.
I love that. I love the Vettel's helmet.
I did,
really
yeah,
like
that
that
was
one.
great. I did as well.
Alright,
But
well,
you gotta remember, that Ferrari car was actually not too bad at that race, but then the power was absolutely horrible. And to see it like that at their test track, which is Mugello, that is their test track, was absolutely embarrassing. But it wasn't as embarrassing as I thought it was gonna be, so that's at least good. But yeah, interesting.
alright, well, we'll move on to the next race. We've got the Russian Grand Prix. Yeah, and we got the Russian Grand Prix. We got Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Ocon, Kvyat, Gasly, Albon, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Vettel, Raikkonen, Lando Norris. I remember he did abysmal here. Latifi, Grosjean, Russell, and then DNFs were Sainz and Stroll. And that was the most funniest DNF I think I have ever seen. Carlos Sainz, he went completely wide at the start and then just... Oh
that was
my
not
days.
a good day for McLaren.
Oh my god.
But I don't really think there's too much to start to talk about this race, in my opinion.
Hamilton's
Penalty, Lewis
Hamilton's
got.
penalty, yeah, that ruined the entire race.
I mean,
I actually don't
what the
remember
fuck
that,
is he
but
doing?
anyway.
Remember he did the practice start. Like,
Oh yes.
That was so
something.
dangerous, though. That's so dangerous.
Mhm.
Like at the end of the pit lane, like the whole thing, not like still in the pit box, but like at the end of the pit lane, exit, just sitting there. That's dangerous.
Good day for
Those two
AlphaTauri, in my
straight.
opinion. AlphaTauri, Daniel Kvyat getting ace and Pierre Gasly getting 9th. Albon
Gasly.
finished in P10. Sorry, yeah, Gasly in P9. Albon in P10. That is dismal, and I think that sums up, like, you know, Verstappen got a great result there, P2, and Albon just finishes P10. Like, I think that sums it up, really. You need
That
a
was
team.
the start. Sorry to
I
interrupt,
think he
but yeah,
did.
that was the
I
start.
don't want to say he did great that race, but he didn't do bad because he was like in P19 with George Russell and Lennon Norris.
yeah,
at some
remember that.
point.
That
Oh,
little
yeah,
Twitch
yeah.
battle.
And then he
Yeah.
fought his way all the way back to P10 after I think they smacked on the hearts after that safety car on lap 1. I wouldn't say that was the
Yeah.
best strat.
Alright, well, we'll move on to the next race. This is one of my favourite races of the season, just because I'm a big Ricciardo fan. But Hamilton, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Perez, Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc. Nico Hulkenberg came back for this race, I remember. P8 he finished. Grosjean getting P9.
Oh,
Giovinazzi getting P10. Sorry, say that again?
Nico Hulkenberg from P20.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Vettel
Wait, this is
P11.
Nürburgring, isn't it?
Yeah, Nürburgring, yeah. Magnussen, Latifi, Kvyat, DNS. Oh my days, a load of DNS. I remember that. Oh my, whenever Norris DNF'd and went onto that little sun lounge
Oh, yeah.
thing and did that whole look, oh my days, that was just a meme in
He could have
itself.
got a podium there. He really could have, but that was.
Yeah, he was in a fight for a podium with Daniel.
Well,
Yeah,
Ricardo,
Sergio.
even though Norris DNF'd and could have got a podium, I was still very happy for Ricardo because that was his first podium in ages, in absolutely ages. Charles Leclerc getting P7, Hulkenberg getting P8. Very good result for him, in my opinion. Overall, I think Hulkenberg in his he did 3 races this season. I think he performed pretty well on all of them. I know he had the DNF in the first one at the British Grand Prix, but honestly, those 2 races absolutely made a claim for him to be in F1 in 2021. But Grosjean and Giovinazzi, 2 good races there for the slower cars in Alfa Romeo and Haas. Vettel not doing that too well. P11.
Yeah, that spin.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did have that
yeah,
spin.
turn
Yeah.
1. Yeah, it was and you guys gotta remember, here's something else to talk about. That was also the race that, I mean, we were just talking about this, Albon's performance at Russia. Gotta talk about the Eiffel Grand Prix. I think he finished P12, had that incident with Kvyat, then I think, he went into Kvyat and almost took him out. And then something else happened. I think he hit Gasly, was it, at turn 1?
Albon DNF'd actually in this race, I think.
Oh, he did DNF. That's right.
How did he DNF again?
I think there was an issue with his car, so it was not his fault. But that race, that was really, really bad, honestly, and that really showed me that's like, okay, Red Bull need to make the switch now, because that was something that just showed that they really, really messed up there, and Albon really messed up.
As well, isn't he?
He did, yeah, that was an
He did
issue, and he
retire.
qualified in pole.
I think that was the race where he lost it. For me.
Yeah,
drive-
but he
the
wasn't
driver's
gonna do that
championship.
anyway.
Lose that many points.
Yeah.
He had such a massive lockup in turn 1 and then just got passed.
Well, actually, the
Sorry,
Portuguese
Don.
Grand Prix. This was the race where Hamilton won the drivers' championship, was it?
No, that's why he
no,
got
this-
the win record.
He got
The
the
win record, yeah.
Oh yeah, but honestly, just in general, I think whenever he won this race, I thought, okay, here we go again. He's gonna win the drivers' championship. So we'll move on to that race now. Portuguese Grand Prix: Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, Perez, Ocon, Ricciardo, Vettel, Raikkonen, Albon finishing P12, Lando Norris finishing P13. I don't really know what to chat about this race. I remember it just being quite a Hamilton masterclass in my opinion, but
Kimmy had a really good start.
Kimmy did have a great start. He went up to P6, and remember, Sainz went up to first in that race.
Yeah.
In
that
start.
was
McLaren's
that
on
got me
fire.
very excited in my opinion. That got me very excited, and honestly, I thought if he could just get into the as
No, that would have never worked.
as he says it himself, smooth operator. If you got into that mood there, or that mode there, I think he could have maybe won the race. But maybe I'm speaking a bit too far ahead of myself. But Hamilton, I think it was just a masterclass for him in my opinion. Just unbelievable, honestly. He
Well,
finished
here's
it.
something to talk about real quick. Perez, that was the start of the driver that came alive, really. He had that incident with
that was a
Verstappen
great
at turn
race.
4, was it? and went back, and then climbed back up to like P4 or something like that. Past
Who do you
many
think is
drivers.
at fault for that crash?
Yeah, it was.
Who do you think is at fault for that crash?
Oh, if I remember correctly, I think it was Verstappen, but I think Perez was involved too. He kind of pinched him. I can't remember exactly. I think it was kind of both.
I think it was a racing incident.
Yeah.
I think so too. But
Guys,
that
can I
was the
just say
race
something
that
real
showed
quick?
Perez and Gasly.
Is there any way
No.
I can check if I'm recording this or not? I think I do remember hitting the recording
Just
button,
click twice on the share button.
but
What does it show then?
no, because then that'll stop the thing.
You could stop
think
it
you
and
can
then
check it.
re-record, then add the
Stop it
clip
and then
later.
we'll just continue it.
Yeah, just continue. We'll continue. All right, boys, we'll go into the next race, Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. In my opinion, I don't really like this track at all. I remember this track just being
It
awful
was
in
a
my
shocking
opinion.
race.
I like this track.
But
I agree, yeah.
I like it, but it wasn't that good.
we'll just run through the order here. Hamilton, Bottas, Ricciardo, Daniel Kvyat getting P4. That was the highlight of his season. Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Norris, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Latifi, Vettel, Stroll, Grosjean, and then the rest. Albon finished P15, and then the rest DNF'd.
15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
remember
had
he had
that
that
spin.
spin. Yeah, that spin with Perez.
Ricardo,
I don't think they have contact though.
when you thought he couldn't get another podium this season, he went and got another podium. Absolutely brilliant drive for him, in my opinion, during this race.
Oh, definitely.
Kvyat, unbelievable race also. I think I remember that he did that really cool overtake. I forget where it was, or who he did it on. He did it
I
on,
think it was
but
on Albon and Perez.
yeah,
turn
it
one.
was. It was. I think it was. Just he really had a go this race, and it just honestly, like Kvyat.
One of the most
Again,
underrated drivers for me.
very underrated. That's what I was about to...
I don't think so. He had serious. He had a lot of chances. He was in the Red Bull. Wouldn't say fucked it over, but he did fuck it over there by ramming
Vettel
Vettel in Russia.
I think that was a bit rushed though. Like, he wasn't doing bad.
No, but yeah, it was, and yeah, also in China, he was also involved in the crash.
2 crashes and they drop him? Come on though.
Well, it wasn't just that. They had Verstappen coming in through the ranks, and it was insane. But you got to remember as well, in 2015, he beat Ricciardo in that season. He got ahead of Ricciardo. Of course, that Red Bull was horrible, but Kvyat did beat Ricciardo in the 2015 season. But in 2016, it was really just a downfall of Daniel Kvyat, and it's fortunate because he's a great driver, but just didn't. Verstappen, of course, replaced him and won the first race with Red Bull.
I rather
don't know.
I rather have him at Haas than Nikita Mazepin. Honestly, I think he's the perfect. Like, I don't know if he's really had any trouble in the limelight, but Mazepin so far, his F1, again, another video in itself. But we'll move on to the next Grand Prix, Turkish Grand Prix. Hamilton, Hamilton, Perez, Vettel. This was
Racing Point.
What a shit race was this? Holy shit.
No, I quite enjoyed this race. Vettel getting a podium made me feel so happy.
Stupid Hamilton won again.
Yeah, he won again.
That was so unfortunate because it was like anyone could have won that Grand Prix. Could have been Perez, Vettel,
So
Verstappen.
anticlimactic. Like, could have had such a good podium, but no.
I was pretty overall.
Vettel
Yeah, Vettel got a podium. That's not too bad. That is not too bad, honestly.
And Perez as well.
Perez,
Place,
that's. I think this is where he started to kick on. Honestly, the last 5 or 4 races for Perez were just unbelievable, in my opinion. Obviously, he did have that failure at Abu Dhabi, very heartbreaking to see. We didn't know whether it was going to be his last race in F1 or not, but obviously we now know he'll be at Red Bull next season. But overall, yes, we know that Perez, Vettel, Verstappen, I don't know, just it always seems to be Lewis Hamilton seems to always come out on top, and this is the reason why I think he's the best driver in the history, or best car or driver overall. Hamilton and this year's car.
Tell me the time you won in the slower. Tell me the time you won in a fucking slower car.
McLaren 2009 Hungary. I mean, that was a car that was absolutely horrible.
I mean, a championship though.
Oh, a championship. I mean, 2008 when he won that championship
Yeah, okay,
against Alonso.
but
That was pretty good,
debatable.
but
All right. Well, we'll move on there because I don't really. Is there anything else to chat about there?
with Turkey,
Stroll.
well, Stroll
Pole.
getting the podium. I mean, getting.
Oh
the
yes, he got
position.
pole. He got pole here. I remember that.
A lot
That
of
was
people
Mercedes
very-
were nowhere.
Wasn't there a massive
Absolutely
crash
nowhere.
in turn 1?
That was. That.
It was
oh.
Bottas and Ocon.
Yeah,
Bottas.
Bottas was like having such a bad race.
Oh yeah, he got lapped by Hamilton.
Yeah.
He did. And he spun like 8 times.
Yeah.
We'll go on to the next race here, lads. Bahrain Grand Prix. Tonight, this
Come on,
was.
let's go to bed.
No, this was
boys.
this was an
remember
eventful race.
Oh,
I
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
How can
I
you
think
not?
you can remember
mean,
something,
it
Luke.
was
Come
a-
on.
Yeah,
Did you not
boring
see
race.
Roman Grosjean at all?
No?
No, he crashed in
I
this
think we
race.
got
And honest to God, whenever I saw that crash, I thought he was dead. Surely I'm not
Same.
the only one. Surely I'm not the only one. Surely I'm not.
Pardon me. Yes, I was. That was something that no person could sit down and laugh at or something. Just have a like.
Well, sure, me and Marine
a
laugh
fun
about it
time
all the
watching
time
that
now, don't we,
crash.
Marine?
You need to edit this out. Just edit this out. Just edit this part out.
But
But yeah, that was that crash was insane.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was
really
a
was.
pretty boring
Scary.
race for the rest.
Lando Norris getting
well-
P4, I quite enjoyed that, to be fair. He did
McLaren
not
were
do
on
bad
fire
at all.
that race.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, Sainz got from P15 to P5.
Yeah.
He had that. Well, I'm gonna say crash, but
He had a grid penalty, no? He had a grid
no,
penalty.
He had
That happened to
his
him.
car just stopped. The rears just locked up.
Axel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Shoots
yeah,
out.
and Stroll and Perez DNF this race. I remember Stroll had that really
Yeah,
crazy
Perez.
crash where he just
I
the car
mean-
just
Oh,
completely
yeah, this one
flipped.
got flipped.
I don't know why Kvyat got a penalty for that because he was there.
No,
He just got
Grosjean.
turned into-
Honest to God, I think that was Grosjean's fault. Honestly,
No,
he
but
could have crossed
before
Kvyat.
with Stroll. Kvyat got
He's talking about Stroll's crash.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That was
Stroll's
Kvyat
crash.
as well.
Because Kvyat was on the inside and Stroll just turns in, and he got the penalty for
I
that.
think
Which
that was a racing incident.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll move on to the next Grand Prix. We do have the Sakir Grand Prix. A lot of changes throughout this race, or just the driver lineups in general. Lewis Hamilton obviously testing positive for coronavirus. George Russell stepped in. Then Jack Aikens from South Korea? What?
Yeah, he's Korean British.
also talk about Pietro.
Oh yeah,
Haas.
Pietro Fittipaldi, coming from the famous Fittipaldi family. I'm sorry, lads, but my F1
His
knowledge
dad
is
is like
not that
a
great.
two-time world driver
Emerson
champion.
Fittipaldi.
Yeah, but
Yep. Emerson. That's his
And the other
grandfather.
one, I
I
can't
do.
remember.
we're going to chat about this. Another one of my favorite races of this season. Honest to God, well, actually,
Oh,
for the
yeah.
right and wrong reasons, in my opinion. Obviously, you lot know that I'm a big George Russell fan, and whenever it got announced that he was driving for Mercedes, just I could not describe the feeling. And when he was P1 in that race, whenever he
was
He-
comfortable.
He was yeah, exactly. He was comfortable in that Mercedes. And then what did Mercedes have to go and do? They had to fuck him over. Honest to
One
God.
race they fucked up.
That one race, yeah. I mean, besides Germany 2019, but yeah, that one race, Mercedes, they mixed up with the strategy, and of course, I found out later it was a miscommunication with the radio, and it was horrible to see how that
What a
happened.
shame.
But yeah,
Yeah, well,
like
well,
no other team could do that, and of course, Mercedes are absolutely perfection because they are German. They're a German manufacturer, of course, and they're the one team that messed up. It was absolutely.
we'll move on to Sergio Perez. Another good film,
yes.
good moment. He won the race. I remember him there on the podium, crying his eyes out. Honest to God, I think we all love Sergio Perez, in my opinion. I don't think we can fault him at all.
I think that was a brilliant race for him. He came up from P18 after the
Yeah, 100.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
he did
crash
absolutely
before in
unbelievable in that
Bahrain.
race.
Bahrain. He had the failure while he was on for P3.
Uh,
So
I think that was the
that's
race where Red Bull decided, okay, we need this guy.
Exactly.
yeah. Let's chat
Well,
about
but they did. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
let's chat about Aiken Fittipaldi here. I don't think we'll be seeing these two in F1 anytime soon. Honest to God, Fittipaldi just averaged throughout those 2 races. Jack Aiken, in his one and only race, he absolutely fucked it up. I think he crashed somewhere, or he had a little mini collision, if I'm not right in saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He caused a safety car.
He did. I remember that, and that ended up was it Bottas and Russell double stacking? I think I remember.
Yeah, it was. George Russell's old car destroyed his own race. even at Mercedes, that's what happens.
Yeah, Kvyat getting P7, Sainz getting P4. I don't really think Ocon got a podium also. Now, to be honest, I have to say this, lads. I hate Ocon just because of. I don't know if you.
Seems like a nice guy.
I don't know if you heard this story before, but whenever Gasly and Ocon were in karting together,
I heard that story.
They did not like each other.
I heard
they used to be good friends. They actually used to be very good friends apparently, but
they did.
I think I remember.
In the 2010 World Cup or some shit.
I think Gasly went past him, and then Ocon just literally forced his way past him again. Just like, you just cannot do that. I wonder if there's a clip up there of him doing that, but we'll move on. But obviously that's a good result for the overall. I think Renault had a very good season in my opinion. You know, just
yeah, they did.
They did. Yeah, 100%. We'll move on to the last race here, lads. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Verstappen, Bottas, Hamilton, Albon, Lando Norris. Overall, obviously it was very sad to see Sergio Perez DNF at this race. But Max Verstappen, absolutely dominant race here, in my opinion, for him.
Decent garbage driver.
But there's nothing really else to say. Hamilton did terrible. Honestly, Hamilton did terrible this race, or the whole weekend. He just did not look himself after recovering from coronavirus. And to be fair, we can't really argue with that, because coronavirus is coronavirus. Yeah, 100%. Norris, Sainz, 2 McLarens had a good weekend. Albon had a good weekend.
He nearly got a Hamilton.
He did nearly get Hamilton. I remember that. Stroll finishing P10. I don't think there's too much else we can chat about, lads. But just to sum up this video, can you lads describe in 3 words what this season was like? So I'll start off with myself. I think fun, interesting, and hope. And now the reason why I say hope is just because I think there was some solid performances from other drivers during this season. You know, we had Ricciardo, we had Norris, we had Albon at some stages, Bottas, Verstappen, giving the fight to Hamilton, in my opinion, honest to God. And to be fair, successful, if I was to add another word, that would make it 4 words. Successful. Because to be fair, we didn't know if this season was even going to go ahead, to be fair. So, clap to the FIA, honestly, because, to get a 17 race world championship up and running, and to only have 2 positive cases throughout the whole, in terms of the drivers grid. It's unbelievable, honestly. So fair play to them.
We have more. Yeah.
3.
Oh, Lance Stroll's tested positive. We'll move on to Marine there. Would you like to describe it up in 3 words?
Exciting. I don't know. Just a good season overall.
Alright, Luke?
I'm gonna go for like a 3-word sentence. I'm gonna say best since 2012.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Broom, do you wanna add?
Agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
Sure.
Vettel was that the season where Vettel won the championship?
We had like 7 different winners in his first 7 races.
Yeah, something like
Yes.
that. Crazy year, in my opinion. So, Broom, just to wrap off this video, what would you describe the season in 3 words?
I think I would say fantastic. I'm not sure if this is a word. Motivational.
Yes, that is a
And
word.